Alaska is the largest state in the United States, with a landmass that's bigger than Texas, California, and Montana combined. But what it has in landmass, it lacks in population. Alaska is the third most sparsely populated state in the US, with a population rate of 730,000, which is only a bit higher than the population of a city in Texas. While the cold temperatures may seem like obvious reasons behind this decline in population, there are more factors at play. In this video, we'll reveal the surprising reasons why 90% of Alaska is empty. Starting off with migration. Migration patterns have played a crucial role in shaping Alaska's population rate, contributing to its sparse inhabitation. Alaska's early population was primarily composed of indigenous people, including Inupiat, Yupik, Aleut, and Athabaskan tribes. The arrival of Russian colonizers in the 18th century brought new inhabitants, but the population remained small. After Alaska's purchase by the United States in 1867, the region experienced a brief gold rush, attracting thousands of prospects. However, many of these migrants were temporary residents, leaving once the gold rush subsided. In recent decades, Alaska has experienced a steady outmigration of residents, particularly among young people and families. In 2022, Alaska lost more than 6,000 people to other states, which shows that more people are leaving Alaska than are moving to the state, leading to overall population decline. So why are people leaving Alaska? One reason is the lack of economic activity. There have been relatively few economic developments to draw people into the state, especially outside the rail belt corridor between Anchorage and Fairbanks. The most precious resource in the state is oil. Alaska's economy is deeply intertwined with the oil industry, making it heavily reliant on the fluctuating price of oil. As the fourth largest oil-producing state in the United States, Alaska's economic fortunes are closely tied to the energy market. The state's waters are rich in oil and gas resources, with estimates suggesting that they hold more than 30% of the nation's known recoverable offshore oil and gas reserves. This reliance on oil production makes Alaska's economy vulnerable to changes in global oil prices, production levels, and regulatory policies. When oil prices are high, the state coffers are filled and there's a steady budget, but when oil prices plummet, the state's finances are deeply impacted, leading to budget crises, pink slips, and even potential government shutdowns. While commercial fishing, lumber, and tourism contribute to Alaska's economy, they are a small fraction compared to oil influence. Speaking of the fishery industry, Alaskan politicians often prioritize special interests over the greater good, allowing Alaskan fisheries to be exploited by out-of-state corporations, resulting in overfishing and depleting resources. Also, misguided policies hinder responsible forest management, leading to widespread damage from pests like the sprucebark beetle, rendering vast areas of timber worthless. If you're enjoying this video, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel for more. The absence of accessible roads in the state is also a contributing factor to the migration. With a population density of less than 1 person per square kilometer, Alaska's vast wilderness remains largely unconnected by surfaced roads. This forces residents to rely on alternative means of transportation, such as airplanes and boats, making travel difficult and hazardous. There are some roads and rough tracks in place, but these can be difficult and dangerous to use for some reasons. Firstly, they're covered in heavy snow and thick ice for much of the year, which makes them unusable. Secondly, the process of solifluction can cut off roads in the summer. Solifluction occurs when the permafrost, which is ground that remains completely frozen for 2 years straight, begins to thaw. Only the top layer thaws out, leaving an impermeable frozen layer below, which waterlogged soil can slide over easily. This solifluction can accumulate massive amounts of soil and mud at the slope bases, engulfing valley floor roads and isolating settlements for weeks or months. Thirdly, most of Alaska is covered in permafrost, which causes land to become extremely waterlogged during summer thaw. The impermeable frozen layer beneath the melting top layer prevents meltwater from infiltrating, making off-road driving hazardous and potentially disastrous. Finally, the repeated cycle of seasonal melting and refreezing results in the formation of permafrost. These are extremely uneven, marshy hollows that make travel impossible in certain places. This permafrost doesn't impede road transportation alone. Infrastructure like buildings are also affected. The active layer of permafrost melting provides a huge challenge when building in Alaska. Early settlers constructed homes that gave off heat from their bases, which melted the frozen ground below, making the ground unstable and causing subsidence. As a result, many of these homes had to be pulled down. Despite its remoteness, Alaska is part of the USA, which is one of the more affluent countries in the world. So residents and visitors expect comfortable living conditions. They want to live or stay in buildings that are properly heated and want services such as sanitation, reliable electricity, and hot showers to help them thaw when they've been out cold all day. The absence of adequate amounts of these amenities in Alaska is dissuading visitors from settling down in the state. In western Alaska, several communities struggle with inadequate infrastructure, relying on aging systems for basic sanitation. Additionally, some villages depend on untrained personnel to manage their water supply. 5 communities, Wales, Shishmaref, Diomede, Stebbins, and Teller, were once classified as unserved, lacking fundamental access to residential water and sewage services. In Wales, the quest for reliable water and sewer systems has become a long-standing, intergenerational challenge. Despite the lack of infrastructural amenities, Alaska once occupied the top slot as the most expensive state to live in the US. In August 2023, the overall cost of living in Alaska was 16.66% higher than the national average. Alaska's unique geography contributes significantly to its elevated costs, as most goods must be shipped or flown into this remote region because there aren't many highways connecting it with the rest of America, which bumps up prices for almost everything, from groceries and gasoline to clothing and construction materials. However, larger cities like Anchorage tend to come with a higher price tag, while rural areas offer some relief for residents' wallets. When it comes to housing costs, homes cost a little more in Alaska than in most of the rest of the US, with a median home value of $362,000 as of September 2023. The utility costs are also usually about a third greater than normal. The average monthly electric bill alone stands at $134. You might wonder why utilities cost more here. Well, it's due partly because of Alaska's remoteness and harsh weather conditions. Just think of how much energy is needed to keep homes warm when outside temperatures dip below freezing regularly. Natural gas prices also play a significant role in the total utility expenses in Alaska. They can make bills balloon faster than marshmallows over an open fire. But the cost of living wouldn't have been a hazard if there were high-paying jobs to cover the cost. According to the Department of Labor, the majority of people leaving Alaska are working-age Alaskans. This is due to the lack of job opportunities. Yes, there are very good paying jobs in Alaska, but for the most part, these are in very high demand, and thus highly competitive and hard to secure as a result. A lot of these high paying jobs also require work in demanding conditions and long to very long shifts between 12 to 24 hours. And high tolerances for that, which is very much unheard of in other states, such as working outdoors in the winter months when it's more than 40 degrees Celsius below zero, and working in the Arctic regions on the far northern or western coasts, which, in addition to frigid conditions, present serious hazards on 4 legs, such as polar bears. Additionally, workers must adapt to unique challenges like total darkness for several months, which can take a toll on mental health. Also, these high-paying jobs, which are mostly in trades like construction and HVAC, as well as sciences such as mining, oil and gas engineering, and healthcare, require extensive training, credentials, and often a college degree. These fields are highly specialized, and the state's harsh environment and demanding work conditions can be overwhelming, even for those who think they can handle it. Alaska is an at-will employment state, meaning employers can terminate employees without reason, adding to the job market's unpredictability. Besides the difficulties that come with getting a high-paying job, the other available jobs are seasonal, providing limited employment opportunities for year-round employment. But the major factor contributing to all these factors is the weather. The state's harsh and variable climate is one of the key factors that deter large-scale population expansion. Alaska experiences long, extremely cold winters, with temperatures often dropping below -34°C in the interior and northern regions. These severe conditions can be challenging for residents, particularly in rural and remote areas, where infrastructure to combat the cold is limited. The prolonged cold season significantly increases heating costs for homes and businesses, making living in Alaska expensive. In areas above the Arctic Circle, such as Barrow, residents experience polar night, where the sun does not rise for about 2 months during winter. The lack of sunlight can contribute to seasonal affective disorder and other mental health challenges, making it less appealing for newcomers. Due to the weather, Alaska has the shortest growing season in all of the states. The short growing season typically lasts only 100 days or less in many parts of the state, limiting agricultural opportunities. This reduces the potential for self-sufficiency in food production, leading to higher reliance on imported goods, which can be costly and reduce the appeal of living in Alaska. Alaska sees an influx of tourists and seasonal workers during the summer months, attracted by the mild weather and natural beauty. However, these seasonal residents often leave during the harsh winter, leading to population declines in the off-season. Many of Alaska's communities are remote and isolated, accessible only by air or boat, especially during the winter months. This isolation, coupled with the extreme weather, can make it difficult for residents to access healthcare, education, and other essential services, discouraging population growth in these areas. Harsh weather conditions often disrupt transportation, including flights and shipping routes, further isolating communities and making daily life more challenging. And there you have it, the reasons behind Alaska's vast emptiness. What are your thoughts on Alaska today? Share them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.